Welcome to State of Tech. My name's Jared, and here are my initial thoughts on the GoPro Hero 5 and Hero 5 Session. So I got these devices primarily because I wanted to see where GoPro has gone since the last version. Now, I have sidestepped GoPro and went to Sony Action cameras, but even my love for Sony Action Camera is kind of starting to fall away, considering some of the features that were not included in the newer versions that they just came out with. Now, Sony has released new versions of their cameras that came out pretty much the exact same time as these cameras, and I have videos coming for those soon. So if you want comparison videos between these and the Sonys, if you want to see what I have to say about the Sonys, definitely subscribe because those videos are coming soon. And I planned on having them done already, but we've had some bad weather over here in California for the last week or so, and I just haven't been able to get out and shoot as much as I would like. But I have spent enough time with both of these cameras really to kind of give them my initial thoughts. I had the previous version of the Hero 5 Session, and it was a decent camera, but it was also underwhelming as far as a camera goes, because it just wasn't for the price, and I bought it at the higher price. At the price that it was available at, it just wasn't the kind of camera that I had expected. I loved the quick start and stop, which is something that's been available on the Sony cameras for a while, but I didn't like the fact that it was pretty much a camera that I could only customize and use from my mobile device. I mean, yes, you can navigate the menu and it's not too impossible, but it's definitely much faster to go in, and there are some things that you just can't set in the camera itself. You have to go to the phone. Now, I was pretty excited when GoPro announced that they were going to have a screen on the back of the camera. I had the Yi Technologies, the Yi 4K camera, which I thought had a really good implementation of a back screen with a menu system, and I have a video on that camera if you want to go check that out. The Yi 4K camera is a GoPro competitor camera that's about half the price, and it's a great camera. So back to the initial thoughts. The video quality on both of these cameras is pretty good. You can definitely tell a difference in video quality between these two cameras. They definitely still want the Hero 5 Black here to be the top dog in their product line. And this camera is a bit cheaper. You know, it's a bit cheaper than this camera. You're gonna pay, you know, the regular going GoPro rate for this camera, and you can get the Hero 5 Session for less, although this version is more expensive than the cheaper pre-existing, the younger brother or sister have you of this camera. What I do like is that they stepped up the connection and went straight to a USB Type-C connector, which is great because most things are going USB Type-C. Even my latest Sony cameras that I got don't have USB Type-C, which these days, almost everything that I have, except for my iPhone, is USB Type-C. So GoPro also stepped it up and made the Hero 5 here, the Hero 5 Black, pretty water resistant on its own. Of course, it's not as waterproof as if you put a dive case on it, because the case that comes with it, or that came on it, is an opened case. It's more of just a protection case, an outer shell that gives you a mount, because the camera itself has no mounts. It doesn't have a 1/4-20 or anything like that in it, which is another thing that's annoying about Sony, or about the GoPro. That is nice about the Sony is that the Sony cameras have a 1/4-20 on the bottom, as does the Yi 4K Technologies camera. Now, the doors on these cameras, this obviously is the first time that GoPro has really had to produce some watertight seals. They did that on this Session camera, but there really was only like one door that they had to deal with over on this side. On here, they've got this door that is you kind of have to get your fingernail in there and push the button down, and then it slides out, which is kind of weird. And that brings to you your USB Type-C, and then also your kind of tiny HDMI connection for playing this, connecting it to a TV or a monitor or something like that. So then you have to push this door back, and over time these seem to have loosened up a little bit, but gosh, out of the box they're so tight. So we slide this open a little bit. We have our battery. We have our micro SD card slot here. For me, I put a 64 gig SD card in it, and I'm able to record just tons of footage, even in 4K, lots of photos and all that good stuff. And then slide this back closed. These doors, like I said, if you get one of these, they're gonna be a little tight. And then over time, they will loosen up a little bit and they won't feel like you're trying to break your camera just to get into it. Still has the little small display on the front. Although the small display has a different user interface, it's a little bit easier to get through. But the user interface on the back is pretty good. It's a little convoluted and not as user-friendly as the E-Technologies back panel, but it definitely gets you to all of those settings that you want. And then, of course, you can still go to the smartphone and configure from within the smartphone. So the image quality is pretty good. It's very consistent. It isn't, I mean, all the GoPros have been pretty good for their time. And even the GoPro Hero 4 Black had pretty good quality video. The video quality has pretty much been just slightly improved. I haven't really noticed anything in the video quality that stands out as much more excellent than the previous model. There is some stabilization that they've added to the sensor. However, there's no stabilization at 4K. You have to step down and then you're able to get that stabilization. But that's fairly common in a lot of the cameras, especially the cameras that use digital stabilization. Cameras that have optical stabilization can stabilize at any resolution because it is not it's hardware stabilization, not software stabilization. The GoPro has software stabilization. And the one thing I've yet to test is what that software stabilization looks like in higher vibration situations, like if you mounted this to a race car or a dirt bike or something like that. Software stabilization on other cameras I found just didn't work too well when in higher vibration settings. Still, the best thing that you can do with a GoPro, no matter how much stabilization they throw at it, is mount it in a solid way to something so that it has a solid mount and no vibration, except for maybe the vibration that's natural on whatever you mounted it to. So overall, I'm pretty impressed with the cameras. I don't think that people should go out and sell their Hero 4 cameras for these. You know, if you are changing your settings quite often in the camera, then you're definitely gonna see just life improvements in general by having the back panel here. Definitely framing up your shots is made easier by having a display on the back of the camera. And you know, other GoPro versions have that, but the top level version GoPros have never had that unless you buy the accessories and or use the app. So it's nice to have that. And the GoPro Hero Session 5 or Hero 5 Session is still a great grab and go camera. It's small, it mounts to pretty much anything. It's durable, it's waterproof out of the box. You know, it's just a pretty decent camera. So I'm going to come back with my full review after I have some time to test these and have enough test footage to show all of you using these devices in different ways. Then I'm going to come back with my full review. And then I'm also going to compare these to the new offerings by Sony, because Sony still does have some features that are better, maybe on paper, but should be better than these Hero cameras, these Hero 5s, Hero Session 5s. We'll see what that leads us to. So make sure to subscribe to the channel here on State of Tech. If you want to check these out, links are in the description below. I bought mine off of Amazon and got them here in next to no time with Prime same day. Fantastic. So I'm super excited to spend more time with these cameras and bring my thoughts back to you. Hey, if you like this video, please click the like button to let us know, and subscribe to our channel if you want to be updated when we put out the rest of our videos. Thanks again, and we'll see you next time here on State of Tech.